السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, we are in Bulugh al-Maram, Kitab al-Siyam. So, if you don't have the book, have at least a piece of paper so you know the hadith and the number of the hadith. Maybe you will be like al-Bukhari, go home and check the hadith we read. Who knows? فلله أوس في الأمة always وخزرج. لعل تكون منكم محدث الديار الأسترالية بخاري هذا الزمان، وما ذلك على الله بعزيز. يلا يا عبد الرحمن.
وعن سهل بن سعد رضي الله تعالى عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: لا يزال الناس بخير ما عجلوا الفطرة. متفق عليه. وللترمذي من حديث أبي هريرة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: قال الله عز وجل: أحب عبادي إلي أعجلهم فطرا.
Narrated Sahel ibn Sa'ad radiallahu anhu, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, the people will continue to be on the right path as long as they hasten in the breaking of the fast. Agreed upon. At-Tirmidhi reports from the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who said that Allah said, the most beloved to me of my slaves is the one who hastens most in breaking the fast.
وعن أنس بن مالك رضي الله تعالى عنه قال: قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: تسحروا فإن في السحور بركة. متفق عليه.
Narrated Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, take a meal just before dawn, for there is a blessing in suhur, taking a meal at that time. Agreed upon.
وعن سلمان بن عامر الضبي رضي الله تعالى عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: إذا أفطر أحدكم فليفطر على تمر، فإن لم يجد فليفطر على ماء فإنه طهور. رواه الخمسة وصححه ابن خزيمة وابن حبان والحاكم.
Narrated Salman ibn Amir Ad-Dabbi radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when one of you breaks his fast, he should do so with some dates, but if he cannot get any, he should break his fast with water, for it is purifying. Reported by Al-Khamsa, Ibn Khuzaymah, Ibn Hibban, Al-Hakim, graded it Sahih.
جزاكم الله خيرا. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أحمده حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه، وأصلي وأسلم على خير خلقه وآله وصحبه ومن سار على نهجه واقتفى أثره إلى يوم الدين. أحبتي في الله, we come to that first step after fasting. And what is that, Ya Osama? What do you do after you fast? Break your fast. Break your fast. This is what you do, isn't it? So the ahadith here joined narrated ahadith, one by Abu Hurairah and one by Anas, to see the ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ as some hypocrites. They attack Abu Hurairah by saying, Abu Hurairah, narrates so many ahadith. And the one who hears that think, wow, how many hundreds of thousands of hadith Abu Hurairah narrate? Do you know how many hadith Abu Hurairah narrate? Huh? 5,000 hadith. Imagine that, 5,000 hadith. I could narrate more than 5,000 hadith of my Sheikh if I sit with him 2 to 3 years. And any of you can do the same. Even if you only come to Tuesday and Friday dars class, you will narrate after 2-3 years thousands of ahadith. We heard the Sheikh said that, we heard the Sheikh said that, we heard the Sheikh said that. How about if that Sheikh is the Prophet himself, alayhi salatu wassalam, which every move of his is a hadith. Every act of his is a hadith. Even blinking the eye, which he never did. Moving his hand is a hadith. Silently seeing someone doing something and keep silent, his silent is hadith. So imagine someone, his talk is hadith and knowledge. His silent is talk and hadith and knowledge. His movement is talk and hadith and knowledge. How many of the hadith you could collect in 3 years of your life? And in three years of your life, constantly you are with him. You don't leave his step door by any way. Even not for food to eat. Abu Hurairah once talked about himself after he became an emir. And you know what emir, yani a governor of a state. He used to cry. And he say, I used to remember myself. And if he talked to the next generation, the new generation, who only see Abu Hurairah as a great Sahabi, doesn't know much about Abu Hurairah. And he teaches them about himself. And he said, used to see me, and the people see me in the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ, and they think I have some sickness in me. And nothing in me except the hunger. I stand, I fall on my face. And they come and give ruqyah on me. And I don't need ruqyah, I need some food to support my stomach. Even once he said about himself, he said, even once I was so hungry, I waited for Abu Bakr, I stand on the door. I waited for Abu Bakr to pass. So I asked him a question. To see, I don't need the question, I need food. So I asked him the question, and he passed by and answered the question. And Umar came, and I did the same, and he did the same. Then the Prophet ﷺ came out, and he said, Aba Hir, which shortening the name. Like you do that sometimes. It is very common between you nowadays. You never mention the full name of anyone. Isam becomes Sam, and this become this, and I don't know what become what. Muhammad become Muhammadi. So he said, Aba Hir. He said, yes, O Prophet of Allah. He said, follow me. And he said, I noticed he knew what I want before even I asked him. So I followed him to his house. Then he said, do you have food? He asked his wife, do you have food? They say, we have a cup of milk. Abu Hurairah was happy, but not that happy. What a cup of milk can do to a very hungry man. So he said, but something better than nothing. But the Prophet ﷺ wants to teach him a different lesson, which many of you needs these lessons nowadays. How to feel for your brothers, how to be a brother, how to be a student of your Sheikh. Not if he say to you, sit, you get upset. Why he said that to me? Who is he to say that? So the Prophet ﷺ said to him, Abahir, again. He said, yes, O Prophet of Allah. He said, go and call Ahlul Suffah. And Abu Hurairah said, Ahlul Suffah is the guest of Islam. The new immigrants, they come to the Prophet ﷺ and they don't have families. Men newly coming to Al-Madinah, so the Prophet ﷺ made them a special place to sit together, support each other, and what sadaqah come to them, they can share it together. And if the sadaqah come to the Prophet ﷺ, he send it straight to them until they find a job or where to support themselves. And that time they were about 50 people. He said, wow, you want me to call? Plus, the cup, I don't see it enough for me and you want me to call the 50 other people to share a cup of milk? But he say, there's no way than to obey Allah and His Messenger. So he went and called them. They came. Of course, they are waiting for the invitation because themselves they are in trouble too. They run to the invitation. And they sat around the Prophet ﷺ. And Abu Hurairah still standing. And he said, Abu Hurairah, he said, yes, O Prophet of Allah. He said, take the cup and start feeding them one by one. He said, again, I have to watch them drinking my milk. And all that, the Prophet ﷺ is reading the messages coming from Abu Hurairah, but he wants to teach him how to trust Allah and His Messenger. So Abu Hurairah starts feeding one by one. Imagine even if you have a huge bottle, what 50 people can do with that? So they drink, and he noticed every time he checked the cup, still some milk in it, and he find the cup as it is, full. Bismillah, drink. Bismillah, drink. Bismillah, drink until all of them drink. Finish. All of them get full. Then he said to him, "Oh Abu Hurairah." He said, "Yes, O Prophet." He said, "Only left me and you." He said, "Yes." He said to him, "Sit and drink." So Abu Hurairah sat and start drinking. But he's shying from the Prophet ﷺ, so he wants to leave some for the Prophet ﷺ. Now only him and the Prophet, so he has to leave something for the Prophet, even if it is not enough for him. The Prophet ﷺ said to him, "No, drink again." And he go and drink. And again give the cup back. And the Prophet said, "No, drink again." Until he said, "O Prophet of Allah, wallahi, I can't find any space in my tummy for that. Let's reach up to here." He said, "Now you're satisfied, so don't worry. If Allah provide for everyone. And Allah is the most generous. Don't worry. When you give sadaqah, give without worries. Because you give it the most generous, the most rich, the most giving. He gives you before you ask. How if you ask?" Then the Prophet ﷺ take the milk and drink it. Then he left the rest for his family. One of his miracles, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. So this man left all the dunya only to stay beside the Prophet ﷺ. and not to leave him at all, except when he's in his private life. This is how he collect 5,000 hadith, and that is much. In reality, it's not much. Not much at all. And really, I am surprised it is only 5,000. Should be 10, 20, 30,000. But Abu Huraira only narrate the things which is important for the Ummah, which the Ummah can benefit of it. Not only just a narration, I saw the Prophet coming, I saw the Prophet going. No, he didn't mention that. Otherwise, should be tens of thousands of hadith. But anyhow, this first hadith talk about how you should behave with your iftar. Now, Ramadan starts, and it is your first day of fasting. You come home, and you watch the adhan to break your fast. What should you do? You should say, well, give it another 5 minutes, give it another 10 minutes in case that. If you want to be from the people Allah the Almighty loves, what you do? As soon as he finished the first Allahu Akbar, not finish the adhan, no. But only fix your time. So be sure your time is right. Of course, sometimes these clock adhan clocks, sometimes they go wrong with the time because of the flat battery or other things. So check your time. When your time is right, don't wait even for a minute to break your fast. And always you prepare that before the adhan. What Allah provides for you, dates or water, milk, any of that, as long as it is warm things, soup, not too much of the food. So the Prophet ﷺ here recommend to you what? What? In the hadith Abu Dabbi radiyallahu anh, the dates. The dates in the different stages, which the rutab is the best stage of it, which is the soft dates. Still has a lot of moisture in it, not the dry one. The dry one, we call it tamar, which we suck the water out of it. So they keep it in special containers to take the water out, so stay for a long life. But the rutab is still fresh date. And if you leave it for a while without a fridge, it gets rotten straight away because it has a lot of water in it. But that is the best for breaking the fast. Why? Because the sugar in it, it's already with the water and goes straight away to your vessels and give you the energy you need. Water and sugar. And the best sugar. Not they made that sugar for us. That is a white sugar, is a poison. But that sugar Allah create in the date. And that slowly goes to the blood. Not at once you become so much high in sugar, then straight away drop the sugar after 5 seconds. No. The sugar build in you little by little, so you don't have headache, you don't have that so much laziness, you can't move from your place to pray or to do anything. That because sudden sugar goes high in your blood, so make you wants to sleep, can't move at all. So we don't want that sugar. The fructose is even for the diabetes, doesn't harm them at all. Why? Because it grows little by little in your blood. Doesn't shoot to 100 degrees in 5 seconds, no. That if you drink these syrups, drinks, the juice, they call it juice, which it has nothing to do with the juice. If you want juice, make fresh juice. Again, it has the same abilities. Water and fructose sugar. Increase your sugar in a very slow motion and very healthy way. If you don't have any dates, either the dry one or the soft one, have anything else. As I said, soup, water, as long as you avoid any cold drink. So do not drink anything cold, even the water. Do not drink it cold. That would kill you. That's one of the reasons the people have diabetes nowadays, because they drink a lot of very cold drink. That attacks straight away their organs and stop them from functioning. So, two things you do when the adhan say Allahu Akbar. What these two things? Break your fast. And break your fast on a very healthy things. Not some buske fried in a very horrible oil. Then you put that in your system and kills you. You eat one, wallahi one, you eat it, maybe it needs a week to get out of your system. How about if you, especially with chili and all this, I don't know, stuffs you have, and you stuff yourself in a very bad way. And this is why you see a lot of people, they gain weight in Ramadan, even they fast. They gain weight. Why? Because they eat horrible food and they eat a lot of it. So learn from me, please, an advice for you. And this is an advice done by the best dietitians, doctors, and scientists who knows about your body very much. Who try to challenge the Prophet ﷺ, but they find he been much faster than them in knowing your body. Because his knowledge doesn't come from him. It comes from the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And mashallah, Brother Nabil helps you. Now bring very much variety of dates to choose from. If you can buy Al-Ajwa, which is the best date, it is medicine too. Al-Ajwa, if you eat 7 every morning before anything else, it will protect you from any black magic and protect you from any poison. Especially for the people who work with this industry, which they smell a lot of gases, or they work with painting, they smell a lot of, or inhale a lot of these poisons. So that helps them and stop that poison attacking them. So you have something from your Prophet ﷺ, and it is not that dear. Your health more dear than anything else. Even if you say it's expensive, your health is more expensive than anything else. So get it as a habit, not only in Ramadan, in every time of your life. Start with the dates each morning. Even now, before Ramadan, if you are not fasting or you are fasting, start your day with the dates. Then don't drink cold water. Don't drink cold water. When I say cold water, what I mean by it, so much ice, it's in the fridge for hours, that is cold. That hurts your body a lot. Drink normal water from the tap is very good for you. And that in summer or in winter, the same. And avoid in every sense and by every mean so-called fizzy drink. Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola and I don't know what cola, or they call it even Mecca Cola, all that rubbish. Mecca has nothing to do with that. Now they have Zamzam Cola too. All that destroy your body. So please, don't eat so much, then you need something to digest your food. Why? You pay double the money, subhanAllah. That is unbelievable. What sense you have? You waste the food, then you want to waste that food after you eat so much of it in your stomach. Why, in the first place, don't eat it? You don't have that filth in your body and you'll be healthy in the same time. So you save money and you save health. جزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله محمد. In summary, as I said to you, please remember that. You don't need to finish the adhan, my little son. Just finish the first Allahu Akbar. When he finish Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, ala طول, put the water in your mouth and drink. And don't put in any way in your calculation, it might be wrong, it might be right. This is out of the sunnah in every sense. وجزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله محمد وآله وصحبه. Any questions?
Sometimes some calendars are 5 minutes ahead, or 5 minutes.
I don't want to hear that, Mr. Usama. Only we have one calendar, and that calendar is the most accurate calendar. So follow that calendar if you don't want to make yourself mad. If you want to make yourself mad, don't bring your madness to me. I'm not happy to hear it. I know there's some people, they add 10 minutes even after the Maghrib. That to make sure that's taqwa. It's not taqwa, it's far from a taqwa in every sense. At-taqwa is to follow the Prophet ﷺ. There's hadith in Al-Bukhari, to answer my dear son. They were traveling, the Sahaba with the Prophet ﷺ. And it was very cloudy day. And the Prophet ﷺ said to them, stop and get the iftar ready. They say, oh Prophet of Allah, it's too early for iftar. He said, no. Get down and do it right now. So they did it. And prepared the milk. They used to mix it with some of the grains they have. Milks or something like that. So they mix it with it and they drink it. This is the first hadith. The second hadith, the Sahaba say, after we drank, the sun appears again. And the Prophet ﷺ said, don't panic. It's okay. We made a mistake by timing, our timing was wrong. Stop eating until the sun set. This is our Islam. So don't panic and don't do these stupid things the people do. And imagine how the Prophet ﷺ, because he said himself, the most beloved to you, the people who hasten their breaking their fast. So you want to be the most beloved one? You don't go to all the calendars and collect it and find the latest time and say, I want to be a biased person. You are not biased in any way. And you are not biased by doing that. Even checking other people's time, it is part of your chaos, not bias. Because you want to bring doubts to your heart. I belong to these people. I do what the people do. I am not better than any of them. You understand that? So don't think you are biased than any of us. You are not. And if you think you are so far from that. You are so far from that. Because anyone think he's better than any other Muslim, he is really the worst of the worst. We have our calendar and we checked it with the most learned people about the time, and we don't have any doubt on the time we put for you. And when we have doubt, we note that for you. This is why we say to you for Fajr, stop eating at this time, but don't pray, because it's not time of Salah. Because we are not 100% sure this is the beginning of Fajr. Have 15 minutes, not eating, not drinking, but not praying too. After 15 minutes, make the adhan and pray Fajr if you don't want to come to the mosque. Or you can't come to them, not if you want, because no one should want. But some can't. So if you don't come to the mosque, pray after 15 minutes. So we know when it is right to take cautious and when it is not right to take cautious. Here we worried about your fasting and we worried about your salah. And we said to you, we cannot by our means make sure that this is the time of Fajr. But in the same time, we don't want you to keep eating until the Fajr already passed. So what we say to you, leave these 15 minutes for the sake of Allah. If we are sure of the time, we will never say that to you. It will be haram for us to say that to you. And we will come to that, inshallah, when we stop eating. That will be, inshallah, maybe next week. Any other question? Okay, جزاكم الله خير وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله محمد وآله وصحبه.